But here we are. Oh shit. Oh wait. Damn. I got to send an invite to somebody else. That's okay. Um, and we're live. With another episode of BS Busters. Um, and this is a doozy. We've had a full week of lots and lots of BS. I mean, a lot of people been fucking up all week, basically. Uh, uh, some people cleaned up their fuck ups a little bit better, like IGN, but 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 generally speaking, lot of spilt, lot of hazardous things being spilt. So
R,
without
R, R.
let's uh, let's get into it, and we'll begin with well, we'll get the smallest amount of bullshit out the way first, just because it's not the biggest or most egregious um, um, it's not the most uh, egregiously or offensive BS, but by my estimation, it's a little bit of bullshit. So I guess I should elaborate. Essentially, we have Nintendo sending a cease and desist letter in the form of emulation to, I believe it was loveroms.com, some shit like that. It's basically like the second biggest emulation site in the U.S.
From what I heard, they shut it down themselves before Nintendo got to.
No, that was Emu Paradise. Emu Paradise shut down their own thing.
Oh, okay. I was mistaken them for something.
No, it's two different websites, and that's not the issue. Legally they have the right to do whatever the hell they want to. The issue. No, go ahead, Alex.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I mean, there's one thing I was wondering, like, how will this impact the fan translation and repro cart community, or however you call it?
That's my issue, is because there are a huge library of games that never came out to America. There's a huge library of games that people make mods for and ROM hacks and stuff like that, and those people are basically like these are people who are legitimately doing some cool shit. Like what they're doing is no different than someone making a.
It's like somebody making their own computer. You're gonna say it. I'm gonna hear it.
No, I wasn't gonna say that. What I was gonna say, it's no different from someone basically modifying Myst or Doom or Duke Nukem 3D or those types of games that were modded back in the day. The only difference is that we're dealing with I don't see id Software or whoever holds the rights to Doom or any of those other game series launching their own online service next month, where they're going to charge you $20 to play a fraction of these same ROMs with online functionality, plus with an online service that may or may not be more stable. So therein lies my particular beef. It's a two-pronged beef, but they're in parallel. It's not that far apart.
Right.
Anyone else's thoughts on it?
I'm sorry. I'm calling you bullshit for now, because if anything, they're doing this to get their own cash. But wouldn't you try to get your own cash by such a manner too?
Yeah, I would. If let me
yeah, right. You're gonna say that it's ethically wrong to do so.
If you would stop cutting me off before I make my argument, because that's not what I was about to say. I was going to say it would make more sense. The argument would hold more water if they had shut them down, 15 years ago when they opened. That argument would hold a lot more water because, we're viciously protecting our IP. Oh, forget those 15 years where we didn't do shit. But now we're viciously protecting our IP. Not to mention that, generally speaking, by and large, most of the people who really, really like playing retro video games, most of them aren't emulating them or downloading ROMs. Most of the people who are really into that and are getting the most money, they go and buy legitimate versions of those games. Like they go and get your one of the versions of Super Mario World, or one of the versions of Super Mario Brothers, or Super Mario Brothers 2, or Super Mario Brothers 3, or Chrono Trigger, etc., etc. Because most of these games, by and large, the most popular retro games to be played can be gotten in some legitimate format where the money is going back to either the developer or somebody. You're buying a hard copy. So that argument is kind of,
What about for repro carts of Japanese games that never came out here?
Yeah, that's the gray area. Because I'm like,
that's the best possible shot, if anything.
These games aren't being released. I don't see Nintendo saying, "Hey guys, you know how we've been have these bevy of Famicom games and Super Famicom games and Japan only games. Yeah. We're bringing them over."
What if it's possible they're actually bringing over the Japan only games on their online service? That way,
you want to bet on it?
That's iffy, but I can say that if anything, they're at least trying to get some coin off it. Everybody keeping it.
They brought the mysterious Murasami console on Virtual Console for the 3DS and Earthbound Beginnings.
Yeah, but Earthbound Beginnings. I hate to break this to people, but Earthbound Beginnings had been translated
already.
Yeah, it was here's the thing: Earthbound Beginnings, Earthbound Zero, Mother 1. That game was basically set to be released for the NES, but the SNES was about to come out a year before it came out. And they basically
they pulled it last second.
Yeah. So this is just listen. Okay, look. Of all the first party companies, console manufacturers, and legendary first party publishers, I give Nintendo a lot of credit for a lot of things. But on this, I'm gonna be I'm smelling a hint of bovine scatology here. Okay.
Okay. Atlas isn't going after people for selling repro cards of the first two Shin Megami Tensei games.
Yeah, and Sega isn't going after people for making for making repro carts of games that stayed in Japan only, like Rent a Hero. You fuckers, Rent a Hero.
Yeah, not even Square's going after people for making Final Fantasy V repros for Super Nintendo, and they've taken down a lot of fan projects and other stuff before,
like Final Fantasy Legend 4, Chrono Trigger 2, a real Chrono Trigger 2 project. I don't know how good it would be, because really at this point, aside from the people who made Octopath Traveler, I don't trust anyone at Square Enix to make a fucking old school style RPG, really.
Not even Silicon Studios, the ones that worked on Bravely Default.
Well, those are the same people that also did Octopath Traveler.
Well, okay, they did it. Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. So but aside from them, I don't trust anyone at Square Enix. And Silicon Studio is they're a second party to Square Enix. They're not they're not internally Square Enix. So
yeah, not they're like Tri-Ace.
Yeah, so much. I don't trust. But back to the thing. I'm just saying. Look, listen. This is the smallest little mound of BS that happened this week. Jewel, one of the panelists, disagrees with me, but I'm going to stand firm that I pretty much look. Listen,
right.
okay, look, we don't have this is basically a very much a we won't know the full details until the event happens.
The thing. Seriously,
but
you're judging by what you already have, and that is not one thing to do right. Seriously,
we won't know the full details until the event happens. But I mean, it's like this, right? It's like if someone says, "Hey, if you stick your hand in this boiling water, your hand's gonna get burned," right? It's like I don't need to see someone's hand get burned before I realize, yeah, that water's hot.
This is one of those times where you can't judge until it's out, even though you have experience. This is one of those times you can't.
Why don't we wait for it to happen? And if it comes out and I'm right,
I'll admit if I'm wrong. But seriously,
and if I'm wrong,
comes out, you keep it.
And if I'm
no, I'm letting you hear it now. I am going to admit that if I'm wrong, and if anything, I'm going to be happy to hear if you're wrong too. So
if I'm wrong, I'll gladly admit that I'm wrong. What I won't do is cut people off while they're talking and act like a 5-year-old.
5-year-old might.
Well, you've been acting like a 5-year-old when we were arguing about Pokemon Let's Go, and
I'm going to be on your case soon enough, buddy.
I said I didn't particularly care for it, but I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Pokemon Let's Go could be awesome. I'm not going to get it, but if people want it, I mean,
that's the thing. If there's something that you could see before you can go into it, then you can make a better judgment. We can't do that with something like online. And I'm being serious with you here.
Not particularly, no.
Yes,
because we have
like this,
we have see, here's the thing. You're right. We can't. It's not a 1-for-1 thing. But you can look at similar situations, other things. For example, I'm going to use Sony for an example because Sony did the same thing, right? With the PS3, free online. PS4 comes out, they start charging after, I think, a year and a half in. We're going to charge people to provide a more stable online experience. Is the online experience any more stable? No, it is not. You could say, well, they're offering all of these free games for people who buy it and, with extra additional online functionality. I mean, but is that worth, every 3 or 4 months, the online goes down, and if you have to play your games that are heavily online centric, you can't. I mean, you're paying 3 times more with the Sony online service versus the Nintendo's online service, the situation is very similar. And I mean, I'm just saying, if you're gonna, it's like, okay, will Nintendo be the unicorn out of all the horses where it's different this time? I hope they do prove me wrong, because that'll be better than them becoming more like their competitors. But reality has a way of things following odds, and normally the exception is not the rule. So, that's just the way it is. At least that's the way I see it. It could be different, and hopefully I'll be wrong. But I'm probably not. But go ahead, state your arguments.
For me, I'm basing my thoughts on the fact that we're in the unknown of Nintendo right now, not of something that showed that they've able to screw things up over and over again. But if anything, I'm trying to at least say wait until it comes out, not judge it on the spot.
I happen to agree as well. The online service starts in the second half of September, so I suspect a Nintendo Direct to talk about it somewhere in around the first half of September.
I mean,
see what they might have to offer that would be worth the $20 a year.
I mean, if you're basing your thing on trying to do something that's not yet sown, then why make a statement that says that it's going to be beep when it's not out yet? I mean,
why do you mean where do I draw my conclusion from?
You're drawing your conclusion from what is already here when it's not here yet. And you can't judge the internet by what is out already. Because
typically speaking, when someone's updating an internet infrastructural the infrastructure for a network, it's something that's done like the groundwork is laid well before like the actual stuff is put online. Like the switch is pulled, everything's put together. So legitimately, if it was going to be that much of a huge infrastructural leap, you would have been seeing them. You would have been seeing an uptick in quality with the online infrastructure now. And this is, and I'm not saying this as that like no matter what business you're in, when you do a network upgrade to make things better, infrastructure-wise,
and you think they're gonna be that quick?
Well, it's months in advance. Like literally, it's like you're looking at a year before you even start doing the upgrade, and then at least 6 to 3 months before you actually start doing the actual infrastructural software, hardware upgrades. And that, you're going to have it in that period. You're going to have a very kind of how can I put this, iffy time where things are going up and going down, because they're basically taking things offline, upgrading things, installing stuff. Here's the thing. Either they aren't doing that, or they have the best tech experts on the planet who somehow have managed to circumvent technology by 10 years, and the system stability has stayed the same. Well, I'm being facetious, but that's probably not the case. They probably aren't. I don't know. I'm very skeptical, but I'm a very skeptical person. So
I think we're all skeptical people to an extent, somewhat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a skeptic. Listen, I used to be a very optimistic person, but the dirty little secret of skeptical people, pessimistic people, is that at their very core, they're some of the most optimistic people on the planet. But that optimism was shattered and broken on the side of the road, so they developed a hard exterior pessimistic shell to hide their optimism. So, maybe I'll be wrong, and their online will be good. Not great, but good. Because you can't expect great for $20 a year. That's just kind of, it's like saying I'm going to a steak restaurant and I'm spending $10. You're not going to get a very good steak for $10 at the steak restaurant. It might be okay, though.
Shall we move on to the next big topic?
Oh yes.
Is it the IGN one?
Oh, well, look, there's so much BS, but let's dive into a person who likes to take other people's work and put his name on it. And then when he gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, instead of admit, hey, I messed up, I'm sorry, I won't do it again, double down and say, I'm the victim. And then and taunt the people who caught your ass the first time. and then get caught a whole lot more. So who wants to dive into that one with Philip Mewson?
Oh God! If anything, that would be the easier thing to work with.
I
Well,
wonder how much they're getting paid for that.
well, Philip Mewson, basically what he did was he, I mean, as we know, part one of the story is Philip Mewson plagiarized part of a small YouTube reviewer's review of Dead Cells. It's a pretty nice roguelike Metroidvania, and he literally lifted like
nearly everything.
Well, not quite everything.
I
but
said nearly.
He lifted major points and paraphrased without citing at all entire paragraphs of the guy's review with only slight word changes. Basically, if this dude did a term paper and handed it into a professor, he'd get an F, a big like, and I mean
a 0.
He'd get a big.
Yeah, like get out of my fucking classroom.
I mean, if he handed it in for his final, if this was like, okay, I'm just showing you this, give me some feedback, it would be like the professor would take a pail of red paint and splash it on and be like, oh, this shit has to be changed because you're literally lifting quotes and not citing them. What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, it's pretty bad. But that was just the first one. Because it got worse.
Because he did more than just that. He like copied someone's Metroid review. What else?
Metroid. I have a link to the article, and this is how bad it is. I had to link the damn article because it was just. Where's the? Damn it! I had it in here. God damn. It was Kotaku.
I think I can pull it up for you, right? Yeah, I got it in front of my computer screen right here. Let's see. He copied someone's. He also copied someone's FIFA 18 review.
Oh yeah.
And what else? Well, I'm looking here. Yeah, I think that's it. Just another Metroid and a FIFA 18 review.
Philip was a bad boy. Philip, actually, no, they updated it. Okay, so he did Samus. He did and that's just that we know of. FIFA, Dead Cells, Samus. These are just the people that they could immediately find. He probably did this to for other shit too. And then
I'd be willing to bet that many like reviewers from like IGN, GameSpot, like Games Radar probably did the same thing to like most other people's reviews, and we just don't know about it.
Well, like here's the thing. I don't want to say all of because here's the thing. Writing a review is like half the fun of reviewing anything, whether it be a movie, a video game, a book, a play, is like
it's a hard thing to do since it takes a lot of thought with some of this stuff. Like,
well, I was going to say it's kind of fun one-upping another reviewer. Like let's say someone says, one reviewer says, like a big quote he says is, "Man of Steel is a movie that stinks," right? Then another reviewer says, "Man of Steel is a movie that stinks like moldy, rancid cheese." And then another reviewer says, "Man of Steel is a movie that stinks
That's
like
the funny
someone
thing.
ate rancid, stinky cheese, then had bad intestinal problems, went to the bathroom, the toilet broke, and the plumber had to come and smell that and look at it. That's how bad Man of Steel is." Like everyone has put their own words into how bad that movie is, and they're all different.
That's the funny thing. I don't consider how bad things is, and by other people's standards, I just do it by what I got.
Well, I mean, the thing, but I mean, reviewers do have a viable thing, because the thing is like, not everyone is going to be able to play every damn game, watch every movie, read every book. There's too many choices out there. And sometimes it helps to have someone say, is it good? Well, if you like this type of game, blah, 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 you might like it. I mean, you know, and
yeah, but I'm saying that if somebody is reviewing it without trying to put in other people's context, then at least it's going to be a little bit trickier.
Well, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, review is a subjective thing. I mean, you can review the technical side of things, like, you know, how it's put together, how well it's put together, because some shit is just inherently shoddy and kind of a broken piece of shit.
Reason why I don't judge graphics. It's a subjective matter.
It depends on the genre. If you're talking about a game, it depends on the genre. Some games kind of need good graphics in order for them to work. Other games, you don't. So it depends. It depends on the genre. Like if you're doing an RPG, RPGs don't need graphics in order to be good, because like the core of an RPG is gameplay mechanics and the meta game. If you're talking a sports game, like a simulation, that's all about graphical fidelity. So if the graphics are shit, it kind of falls apart. But anyway, Philip Mewson, your guys' thoughts on Philip Mewson fucking up repeatedly and then getting angry and doing a video where he's like, they came after me. It's like they didn't force you to steal their shit and put your name on it.
I'm trying not to face
that he's getting death threats from both him and his family.
I don't condone that, no matter how low of a person he is.
I don't particularly believe that, because whenever you see people in the video game industry get caught doing something that they shouldn't be doing, they immediately jump on people are attacking me, but they very rarely show evidence of it. So I think that's just a victim. I think that's a victim. I think they just use the victim mantle to garner sympathy
and to deflect attention away from them.
Yeah, it's like you got caught stealing people's work and putting your name on it, and like instead of you, like, here's the thing: if he had said, "Look, you know, a lot of things were going on. I took the shortcut." No, I'm not saying like legitimately.
Somebody sniped me.
Because you can't read people's minds. But if he had said, "Look, a lot of things were going on. I took the shortcut. I'm sorry. I apologize to the person I did this to. I'm sorry. You know, I won't do this again. I'll try and be more upfront and open with my critiques. I won't do that." People would have let it go. But then he's going to sit here and pretend like, yeah, I'm the victim. They're coming after me. It's like, I don't see any evidence of that. But here's a ton of evidence of you stealing people's shit and putting your name on it. So, and I don't think, like, here's the thing: just because someone says something doesn't mean it's necessarily true. That's the first rule you learn about journalism. Just because he says someone is making death threats against his family, if he doesn't show evidence of it, I'm not going to believe him at face value. I'm going to say, okay, if that happens, that's messed up. But until I see concrete evidence, like so-and-so wrote this to me, I don't believe it. Like, I'm very skeptical. So yeah, I mean, he got caught. He's gonna try and use the victim defense. Although, I mean, I don't know how the victim defense works when he plagiarized someone's shit. Like, that's not something you can do accidentally. It's like when people say, "I accidentally slept with my brother's wife." You can't accidentally do that.
How can you do that?
Oh, a few of our
man, I was drunk. She was drunk. I accidentally, my pants came off. Accidentally, her legs opened up. Accidentally, I fell repeatedly, like 100 times. And accidentally got her pregnant. It's like that's a lot of coincidental accidents.
But
that's so many accidental accidents that I don't think that was an accident. Like the way this guy is trying to make it sound, I accidentally literally lifted entire paragraphs of other people's work and only slightly changed what I was saying in order to do a review. And his ass got fired from IGN. So kudos to IGN for dropping the hammer down.
And a few continue.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. A few of our contributors are believing what Philip said about the death threat, the family death threats, and are considered, and they say this is not okay. And if anyone in our channel is caught doing a similar death threat, then they'll get an automatic ban from our group.
Fair enough, but I just really don't think I don't think he's getting death threats. Because first of all, who cares enough to really it's like
somebody like that?
Yeah, I think Philip Mewson's a piece of shit that he stole people's work and passed it off as his own, especially when you're talking about your intellectual work. That's your idea, right? That's what you put your blood. Like, here's the thing: even if you do a channel that's like mine, where I don't have the highest budget, I'm not spending tons and tons of money on graphical software, visual studios or sound studios, or anything like that. But if you're taking someone else's work and passing it off as your own, you're stealing from them. If not monetarily, you're stealing their ideas, and that's wrong. And this asshole did it. He and then won't admit it, and then got mad, and then tried to say, well, it was an accident. And yet you sit here and look at it, and there's literally they've got there's direct evidence of him doing this. Engadget, Samus Return takes the hero and the franchise back to its roots, from level design, and encourages exploration of satisfying enemy encounters to the traditional 2D platforming style that helped birth the term Metroidvania. Mewson, Samus Return takes the legendary hero and franchise back to its roots. It's the same thing. With everything from its satisfying enemy encounters, he just switches shit around. Oh god, this dude is
trolls.
He's a thief. He's an idea thief.
Yeah.
And his ass got caught. And rather than here's how you can tell he's a little bitch. When you get caught as a man or an adult, sometimes you just gotta say, "Look, you caught me.
I goofed.
You got me. I've been fucking up." And here's the thing: it costs nothing but your ego to admit when you're wrong. But fuck your ego. To hell with your ego. You can build your ego back up. But when your reputation is shot like this dude, I mean, your guys' thoughts on old Philip, Black Philip, whatever his name is, Triple Philip.
He's looking like Hill on a worse scale.
Well,
if you're wondering who Hill is, by the way, she's that person that was with Guild Wars 2 and got fired over some commentary between one of the fans and her.
Yeah, I think this.
I said that is on a worse scale.
I don't think they're comparable because they're two completely different. They're two completely different situations. Like, that woman basically got defensive and lashed out at a customer of her employer. And she was fired for it. And her manager was fired for it, which, I mean, I don't think they should have been fired for it. Maybe had their Twitter privileges revoked, but not fired for it.
At least keep the guy, because he was just defending her.
I mean, I don't think people should be fired for getting defensive. Maybe, because they felt like they were being condescended to. Even though she may have been wrong, maybe she would have been forced to write an apology, but I don't think she should have been fired. Because, I mean, we don't know if she was a shitty employee, she did a bad job, she just lashed out at a customer. This guy, I mean, he's a game journalist. Journalism has certain tenets that you're supposed to have, allegedly. Even though he wasn't really a journalist, he was some asshole on YouTube that made it to IGN.
And then screwed up his work with copying someone else over and over again.
He probably was doing that when he was on YouTube. Because typically speaking, when people plagiarize and steal like that, they've been doing it for years. It's just they got away with it, and they got sloppy and lazy. But yeah, she got caught. Before we go any further, for those of you watching who are leaving comments in the comment section, if you have questions, leave them there. We will answer them at the end of the podcast, for like the last 20, 30 minutes. But any more thoughts before we move on to the next bit of BS, which is one of the.
I'm willing to bet that this Philip guy's probably going to be working at a McDonald's for the rest of his life now.
I don't know if he'll be at McDonald's, but I mean, from his love of plagiarizing, I don't think he has a bachelor's degree, and so he might be working at a Starbucks, maybe, maybe a Chipotle.
And those are the type of jobs you don't want to work on because they give you less money.
Yeah, he's probably going to be stuck living in his parents' basement for the rest of his life.
I think most of those jobs, unless you're the manager, then you work dog hours and they work your ass to the bone and don't give you a lot of benefits. Although I heard Starbucks is a little bit better than some others, unless you're someone who calls the police on black people who are just waiting on someone to show up. Then your ass gets fired. But that's neither here nor there.
Hope that guy's.
Oh yes, Smash Brothers is next, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got some more BS, but we can get into Smash Brothers. So, what do you guys think about that Smash Direct?
My reaction is basically Joseph's English from the anime.
And I'm gonna say this: keep your dancing to a minimum. Keep your dancing to a minimum.
Yeah. So so. They added both Simon and Richter Belmont, and who else did they add?
Don't start.
Crumb,
and Dark Samus,
and Dark Samus,
and the most requested video game villain of all time,
King K. Rool, or as I like to call him when I was a kid, or as I called him when I was a kid because the cartoon didn't come out until like Donkey Kong Country 2, King K. Rool.
Yep.
Meme K. Rool.
That was like one of my favorite. Like I was like they need to bring back King K. Rool. Like I know everyone likes Donkey Kong Country Returns and Donkey Kong Country Returns Tropical Freeze, but
hey, they're good games, but they aren't like the other ones that were from Rare.
They are so damn generic.
Generic? Come on, they're at least silly to look at.
Well, they're silly to look at, but they're not memorable. Is what I mean. It's like the Tikis.
Only the Snowmads were more memorable than the Tikis.
And not even the main Snowmad was like Bashmaster was badass. That's because he had a cool theme song. But aside from that, it was like I don't give a fuck about any of you people. But then now that they brought back King K. Rool, it's on like Donkey Kong.
K. Rool might be having the F-Zero complex.
Not really. I mean, they probably won't bring back King K. Rool, but if they do, I will have a fangasm because that's like one of my favorite villains in Donkey Kong. Well, I mean, for like 4 games, he was the only villain. So my favorite villain in Donkey Kong.
Also, Joel, to correct it, he has the Ganondorf complex because the human form of Ganondorf has not appeared in any mainline Zelda game since Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
And the Zero complex that happened.
But no one really cares about the human form of Ganondorf.
And believe me, during the Smash 4 speculation days, people were suggesting Girahim to replace Ganondorf because he was quote-unquote irrelevant.
Because Ganondorf is basically a more refined and more balding version of Girahim. I'm balding. Like he's got the Triforce of Power and all this insane magical abilities. He's immortal. But that hair is thinning on top, boy. That hair is like, fuck you, Ganon. Oh! that forehead is turning into an 8 head.
I was about to say, and a 9-ball becoming a cue ball.
Look, Ganondorf, you can stab him in the chest with a magic sword. That won't stop him. You can burn him with a dragon's flame. That won't stop him. You can drop all types of shit on him. That won't stop him. But a balding head can't fix that. See, that's why he's really pissed at Link. Link has a head full of hair. He's just mad about that. That's all that
is. those beautiful locks.
You bastard. You've got hair. You son of a bitch. I'm going to kill you.
If anything, this is one of the ways we lighten up on the BS Busters. We get silly like
in Twilight Princess, he puts that shit on, that jewel to hide the bald spot. They won't know. Man, everyone here knows your ass is bald, man. Just shave it all off, man. You're basically a black guy. Just go bald, man. It worked for Jordan. Go for it, man.
Not all guys can pull that off, you know.
Well, I mean, typically black folks can do it. Now, if you're a white guy and do it, people might think you're a skinhead. But I mean, look at Jordan. Look at Magic Johnson.
Not all people, but if anything, I get you on that one.
Technically,
look at Isaiah.
Technically, Ganondorf is Arabic, is more Middle Eastern dark rather than African dark.
Well, I mean, there are different shades of people in Africa with different shades of colors. So I'm going with African just because, I mean, you know, that's more like, although that nose is very Arabic. The Naruto do, I mean, not the Gerudo do have a very Arabic nose. Actually, it's more Ethiopian, actually. Moroccan, but that's neither here nor there, and that's in Africa. But anyway,
also, like, I'm kind of surprised Richter made the Smash list, despite the fact that he's only started like one Castlevania game on the Super Nintendo. That was like that bad
Dracula X.
Really, that bad port of Rondo of Blood, Dracula X.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did get Rondo of Blood on the Virtual Console. Yeah, but you know the reason they put him in there is because he's really iconic, because he's in the opening for Symphony of the Night, where he's about to fight Dracula. You know, what is a man?
That wasn't on a Nintendo platform either. It only got ported to the Saturn.
I know, man.
I thought Rondo of Blood was supposed to be like one of the best Castlevania titles in the series.
It's
from what I've been told.
Here's what I'll say: it has some of the best graphics and music. Like I would put it, like Rondo of Blood has really good music, especially the TurboGrafx 16 version of it with the CD attachment. Oh, the music is, I put it on par with, I put it like, I say it's about equal with the music from Super Castlevania 4. I say that Simon Belmont Super Castlevania 4 is more mobile than Richter Belmont is in Rondo of Blood. Because like all he has is that little shitty black backflip, and that's
not much.
What about Alucard?
I think it was explained that the reason why they picked Richter is because most of Simon's moveset is based off of Richter's moves.
Or Richter's moves are based off of Simon's moves.
That was funny how they say that you barely could tell who's the Echo character and who's the real one.
Well, because they're both Belmonts. They both have Vampire Killer. They both use sub-weapons. They both... the cool thing about Simon is that he can whip in 8 different directions, at least in Super Castlevania, which Richter can't, which is why I don't really like Rondo of Blood, because you don't have like, you
don't have the special 8-directional whip.
You don't have 8-directional whip. You like, because in Super Castlevania, like Rondo of Blood goes back to the original Castlevania formula, which is your whip is just there as a catch-all, but really you should be depending on sub-weapons. Super Castlevania sub-weapon, they flip it. Your whip just basically just destroys everything once it's upgraded, but your sub-weapons are there for bosses. Like, especially that damn triple cross. Oh, the triple cross.
Triple cross?
You mean Grand Cross?
No. In Castlevania, the sub-weapons Simon has is the cross, the axe, the knife, the holy water, and the pocket watch, which can stop time. but throughout the game, you can also get these scrolls, which double
the weapons.
how powerful they are. Yeah, so there's like a 2 scroll, 3 scroll. 3 scroll basically lets you use 3 of whatever. So 3 axes, 3 knives. The knife is like the weakest sub weapon though. Or 3 crosses. The 3 crosses basically, the triple cross basically just like you can if you hit a boss right and use all 3 of them because it goes across the screen.
That could
and
take
comes
out
back.
half their health, won't it?
Well, you can kill some sub enemies. Like Medusa, you use 1 triple cross and it just destroys her. It's great. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Those are my favorite characters. You guys give your thoughts on what you were liking.
Kind of like was hoping that Alucard would make it in as well.
But he's an assist trophy, so there's that.
Yeah,
man,
killing people. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, if you follow the lore of Castlevania, Simon Belmont is allegedly the son of Alucard, and Dracula's his grandfather. So that'd be kind of cool. Dad, get him, Dad. You got him? Okay, good.
Yeah.
My turn.
Yeah, you could hear the family relationship.
Yeah, it's a fucked up family
weird.
relationship. I mean, the grandson's beating his grandfather's ass with a whip. That's fucked up, man. That whole family's fucked up. They need to go. old ass grandfather, elderly grandfather getting beaten with a whip. That sounds wrong. That's elderly abuse. Someone needs to call the police.
Oh,
they need family services. That would be a funny skit to do. Family services shows up at Dracula's castle. Yeah, we heard there's been some problems. You got Dracula in the back. He hit me with a whip. Who are you? I'm an old man.
oh God.
Someone's like, he's the father of all evil. How old is he? 400 years old? Come on, you got to go to jail. But he's the father of all evil. Come on, get in the car. He's the father.
I'm tempted to look at some of the other features of Smash Ultimate, but man, this is so funny.
And then people are speculating that a side character who can appear in Dracula's castle is Kid Dracula.
Because there's a silhouette that matches Kid Dracula's appearance.
That would be hilarious because Kid Dracula, that game's actually pretty fun. I have it on Game Boy. It's a pretty fun little game.
I've got to see that one.
I think you'll see.
No, go ahead,
see any Resident Evil? You think you'll see any Resident Evil characters making into Smash?
I don't think
maybe
so.
It's DLC, but not in the first.
Probably not before Monster Hunter.
Maybe
got its representation in the form of Rathalos as a boss. And
maybe as DLC.
A stage boss and assist trophy, you mean, right?
Maybe as DLC, they might do a downloadable stage, like they might add Leon Kennedy just because he was in RE4 and people.
Yeah, and two as well.
Yeah. They might do Leon Kennedy as a character, and the stage. I don't know. Like I would like maybe an amalgamation of the village from RE4 and maybe part of RE2, where you can have
maybe maybe the Umbrella facility from Resident Evil 2, or maybe the police station, perhaps.
I mean, that'd be cool. Like, I would think it would be cool to have a level where basically you have various RE bosses pop in and attack you while at the same time you're trying to like knock people off the stage.
They'll probably have to use the RE bosses that are E10 friendly if they wanted to keep the E10 rating and not move.
Not get into the teens.
I mean, they could make them less bloody. Like they could have Nemesis show up, just stomp on someone. Yeah, they could have Nemesis show up and stomp someone. They could have that giant mutant salamander from RE4 pop up from the floor or some shit and try and bite somebody.
Or William Birkin.
Yeah. And maybe you could have like a chance, like maybe a 1 in 900 chance that what's his name? Who's that bastard? Like he's like the guy,
head, but something else.
No, he's the guy who took the T virus and wears the shades.
Oh, you mean Wesker?
Yeah. You can have him show up and just he just starts trying to fuck up everybody. But if Leon's on the stage, he'll go after him first because he and Leon have this weird hate relationship. I was gonna say love hate. No, it's hate. It's hate.
Yep.
I thought Chris has a bigger beef with Wesker than Leon.
Yeah, but Leon has had more. The thing about Chris has never actually fought Wesker and beaten him. See, Leon's actually fought Wesker and beaten him, and he can't stand that shit. So they have this. But even with all that T-virus shit he's taken, he's still.
But Chris has finally faced Wesker in RE5.
Yeah, but he didn't beat him. He faced him, he didn't beat him. See, Leon's actually beaten him. Like Wesker with all his T-virus upgrades and all that shit. He's like, yeah, you can't take me. He's like there to taunt you, but Leon with like the storyline for Resident Evil is so fucked up. Like if I remember correctly, the people like Chris Redfield, Leon Kennedy, the people who've been fighting the all those zombies and shit, haven't they like been affected by the T-virus, but not to the extent of Wesker? If I remember correctly, like that's why they have those superhuman abilities.
Well, Jill got in Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, but I think like with like RE6 and shit like that, didn't they like finally say like, okay, these people have powers because they've been fighting like zombies for so damn long and stuff like that. Like, so I mean, it's convoluted. But my point is this: the guy that he's lost to was Leon, and that's the source of this motherfucker. I must reclaim my title, and especially the knife fight, considering they both really like knives. I have no idea why, but whatever. So
yeah, who would you add as a Resident Evil assist trophy, like Claire or Ada?
No, I'd get that dude. What you buying?
What you buying?
What do you? Yeah. When he opens it,
you just throw some items depending on if you have items on.
Yeah. He's like, "What you buying?" And there's like a chance that he might get dropped like a flamethrower, like a rocket launcher, a flamethrower, an energy sword, whatever, health. What you buying? Like that guy. I think that would be a cool assist trophy. What you buying? Man, anything if you stop aggravating me. Shit.
Think we could see maybe a Tokyo Mirage Sessions character pop up?
If they do, I want Kyria with that eye patch. I want Kyria with that eye patch.
Let's see. At this moment right now, I'm perfectly satisfied with the roster now that we have Kim K-Rool.
Nah, man, it's never enough.
Name K-Rool.
Never. Add more.
It's never enough. Never enough. Can't stop.
Unless you're a Waluigi fan.
Kind of like the alien from Men in Black who's asking for more sugar in his water. More.
Yeah, let me put it this way, okay? It's like that song by Barry White in the opening where he's like, "It's just not enough. It's just not enough. It's just not enough." Like here's the thing. Yeah, I can't get enough. Must have more. Like I said, I keep on saying this. I will keep on saying it. I don't like Cloud Strife. I wish they added a Chrono Trigger character into the game. It doesn't have to be Chrono. It could be Gino, but
I mean, there's a theory that all characters who got in Smash 4 as Mii costumes might become full-fledged characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate.
I mean,
this is where Gino gets hoped for.
Yeah, I'll settle for Gino, but I would much rather prefer. Like, I don't have the love affair for Mario RPG like other people do, just because
it's not bad, but it has its moments.
Let me put it this way: it's not the best SquareSoft RPG on the SNES.
We could agree that it's either Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI. Hell, I'll take a Final Fantasy VI character. I would love to have Terra. Her ultimate smash could be her morphing into a half Esper and just fucking shit up. That'd be awesome. But would Square Enix allow it since they have this hard-on for Cloud Strife?
Oh yeah, speaking of which, Final Fantasy still has 2 music tracks.
Okay. No,
which means that we're not getting any more Final Fantasy music tracks other than just 2.
And shit from Final Fantasy VII, which I think is overrated shit. So whatever.
Hey, there's a few good songs. Not too many. A lot of them
At
are
least it's
not
not Final
memorable.
Fantasy VIII.
or 13.
Oh.
or 10. Ha! 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 Is this motherfucker?
You keep slamming on 10 like that. Come on. At least slam 10 too, not 10.
Is this man? Well, 10-2 is even worse. That's the thing.
I thought you would be slamming that more than 10.
Yeah, but the thing is like I literally I played about 30 minutes of 10-2 and I was like, this is some bullshit. And I put it back in the case and I returned it and got my money back.
I played it for 4 hours.
Oh, you're a braver person than I am. 10, if you took out Titus, would be a much better game.
Well, blame the people that thought that a female heroine couldn't lead the story.
Which is stupid because Final Fantasy VI's main character is Terra and she's a female heroine. But hey, it's not like they didn't have a female main character before.
And see, continuing with talks of the characters, there have been rumors and leaks from the same guys who leaked Simon Belmont before the Smash E3.
And
they say, according to their sources, we'll also be seeing Isabelle from Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
As an echo character.
She's probably going to be an echo character for the villager.
Yeah, it's most likely after what we saw from the Smash Direct.
I'm going to keep it real. As long as she doesn't have that same dead-eyed, I'm going to kill you in your sleep look that the villager has, I'll be okay.
She'll probably have more unique face animations than villager.
You know that look that's just like, I will devour your soul.
You know who they could add in? They could add in Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
The next character that they leaked is a Gen 7 Pokemon rep, which
hopefully Buzzwole.
Because every Smash Brothers title they add a new Pokemon character from the current generation. Like in Melee, they added in Pichu to represent Gen 2, which was the current gen. Then in Brawl, they added in Lucario, because Gen 4 was the current gen. And in Smash 4, they added in Greninja, because Gen 6 was the current gen. We're in Smash Ultimate, and Gen 7 is still the current generation, so we're expecting a Pokemon from that game.
I'm going to keep it real. I'm not ultra attached to Pokemon Gen 7, so I'm not really impressed with Gen 7 that much. I like the previous. I like Gen 6 a little bit better. It was just to me. It spoke to me a little bit more. But everyone has their own. Here's the thing: they can add any Gen 7 Pokemon they want. I'm not going to be like. I'm going to be more worried. I think they need to add more brawler characters because there's a lot of characters who use swords.
There's still more brawler characters. Like King K. Rool is still a brawler.
Yeah.
And a heavyweight, no less.
They have a lot of characters who use weapons. So I'm like, I want to see a character who doesn't use weapons. Maybe a character has a weird fighting.
Simon Belmont is a weapon user.
Yeah, he's got a whip. So I mean, I want to see someone who uses unconventional weapons or no weapons, has a weird fighting style. Because Smash Brothers, like I said, everyone keeps on trying to say Smash Brothers is this hardcore arcade fighter experience when it's really just It's
not Street Fighter.
Exactly. It's not Street Fighter or Tekken or Dead or Alive. It's supposed to be fun, arcadey, off the wall stuff, And
now the last character that they mentioned from their leaks is Skull Kid from Majora's Mask.
I'd be cool with that. His ultimate smash would be him sending the moon down.
Unfortunately, the moon is an assist.
Yeah, that's an assist trophy. Okay, he turns into.
But there is an alternative. His final smash could be Majora's Wrath.
Yeah, he could turn into that full version of Majora and just go around beating the shit out of people. Even though, really, I mean, I'm sorry, the final boss of Majora's Mask, if you have the Fierce Deity mask, is just a joke.
Cake.
It's like really.
I thought
Seriously,
I
bro?
thought you were gonna say it's cake.
No, I was gonna say it's a joke. It's not even a fight. It's just like, yep. So you want to use your mask and become badass? Well, I can be badass too.
I wonder how many people are going to throw a fit if Gino was just added as another like me skin for Smash Brothers.
It's gonna happen.
People will write hate mail. Maybe some people will threaten.
Then I'll put the blame on Square Enix rather than Nintendo, because Sakurai has been trying to get Gino and Smash since the Brawl days.
Well, maybe with the success of Octopath Traveler, they'll get their head out of their asses. I mean, look, listen.
I'm trying to not laugh at that line.
It's like you said earlier with me and Nintendo's online service. Look, the chances of this happening are so slim, but maybe we can give it a chance. I don't even know why I'm saying this. It's Square Enix. What the fuck am I thinking? Stop my dumb ass self.
Speaking of Square Enix, I actually wrote another article on them. I'm just going to share it right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just shared it. I think it's in the comment.
Why Nintendo may never see another Final. Let's see. Well, yeah, we know it's all because of Sony.
Yeah.
Even though year over year they've been losing, the sales of Final Fantasy games on Nintendo systems have been going down year over year. Sorry, release over release, not year over year. So.
Yeah, I mean, like they can afford to lose like some smaller developers, but they can't afford to lose Square Enix.
Well, yeah,
that'd be the end for them.
And Square Enix's nose is so far up Sony's ass that they can they can tell you what Sony ate. Well, no, I can tell you they know what Sony ate. So, but I mean, this is what Square Enix gets for getting in bed with Sony. I mean, it was not a good move. That's why when the GameCube came out and they put that fucking piece of shit Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles on the system, it was offensive.
We didn't even get a port of Final Fantasy X or any of the other past Final Fantasy games, so we just got that.
Yeah, yeah, and before someone says, "Oh, they couldn't put a hardcore RPG on the GameCube," hello, Bait and Katos,
Tales of Symphonia.
Tales of Symphonia.
Remember back in late 2015 when Cloud was announced for Smash, people assumed that we'll get the Final Fantasy VII remake to get ported on the Switch, or back then it was called the NX.
Can I just say this right now? I can't be the only one here who doesn't give a fuck about a Final Fantasy VII remake. I don't care. I mean, listen. Do you know how fucking long it took for them to make Kingdom Hearts 3?
It's still being made, by the way.
Shit.
I mean, it got announced back in 2013, and it won't be finished until like early 2019.
So I mean, I don't give a fuck about. Look, look. Square Enix wants to do something cool. Remake fucking Chrono Trigger in the Dragon Quest VIII engine. Remake
Xenogears or in the Xeno make it like Xenoblade Chronicles.
Well, that would take effort, and them handing that code over to Monolith Soft, which is owned by Nintendo, and Square Enix would rather cut their own dicks off than do that. Or I'm sorry, let Sony cut their dick off.
Yeah, especially since Tetsuya Takahashi's with Monolith Soft now, and it's his baby. But seriously, that game deserves a remake. See, here's the thing. There are a lot of really good games that are out that came out of Squaresoft that never came to America. Live Alive, Romancing Saga 1, 2, and 3. Treasure of the Rudra's.
Treasure Hunter G. Yeah, Treasure of the Rudra's. Treasure Hunter G. Front Mission, Gun Hazard.
The original Front Mission.
Well, no, the original Front Mission came to America.
It was on the DS, though.
Run. No, it came to the SNES. it was just it was not a huge game. I mean, just to be honest with you, it was not a huge game. Because by that point, Final Fantasy had taken over everything. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Squaresoft originally kind of went to PlayStation, because they wanted a bigger platform. Because basically, the only shit that really took off on the Nintendo was Final Fantasy. For them was Final Fantasy. Their other stuff, they did Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. That game was much maligned. They did Front Mission, and that game bombed. And that was a large cart too, and it bombed. So they were like, okay, fuck it, we need a bigger audience. Ironically, Nintendo gave a lot of bennies during the NES generation, the third gen, to Enix. They published the first Dragon Warrior game, or
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest, yeah. In America, it was called Dragon Warrior. In Japan, it's called Dragon Quest. But I love that game so much. But that's neither here nor there. Oh wait, that could be a character added to Smash Brothers, Loto or Roto, depending on who you ask.
I don't really play Dragon Quest, so I mean I can't answer that.
What about Eldrick? I mean, people.
Well, that's one of his. That's the modern. That's what they changed his name to, was Erdrick. But in the original translation, he was Loto or Roto. Then they changed it to Erdrick. It's the same character. The character in the blue armor, the classic Dragon Quest sword. Yeah, that's Loto Erdrick.
At this rate, Dragon Quest is pretty much the last remaining iconic third-party company that has yet to be represented in Smash.
Yeah. So I would like to see him. I would like to see Erdrick brought into the game, or they could go with the character from Dragon Quest 8.
Unless you consider Tekken or the Tales series or Shin Megami Tensei as iconic as Castlevania, Pac-Man, Mega Man, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, they're getting there.
Shin Megami Tensei is getting there, yeah. Shin Megami Tensei, because of the nature of just how hardcore it is, it's never really been a mainstream franchise. Even Persona's not really mainstream. It's more mainstream than the main series, Shin Megami Tensei, but it's not like...
There could be a character in Smash, considering it has a long history on Nintendo platforms.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, if they were going to put a character in there, it wouldn't be one of the characters from Persona. It would probably be one of the demons, maybe Jack Frost, because he's really popular. He's the franchise mascot.
You don't think they'd put in you from Persona 4, even though he's been in the Persona Q games on 3DS?
I think people are requesting for Joker more than you.
The reason I say it's probably not going to be any of those characters, because they risk alienating the audience. If they get you, they're going to piss off the people like Persona 5. Now, I have Persona 5. I beat it. I'm not really impressed with the main character from Persona 5, but some people like that character. And then if they go with Joker, they're going to piss off the people like Persona 4. But if they go with Jack Frost, who's the mascot for the entire damn franchise, I mean, they might grumble a bit, but they're not going to be like, he's the mascot for the whole fucking franchise. So it would make sense to get Jack Frost. Maybe his ultimate smash could be him fusing with Pumpkin Jack and becoming Black Frost and releasing a magic attack of annihilation that destroys everything. I don't know, but that'd be cool. I'd be cool with that.
And then there's Tekken with Heihachi, but they just killed him off in the recent Tekken game.
I'm gonna keep it real. If they're gonna put a Tekken character in the game, I don't want Heihachi. If they're gonna put a Namco Bandai character in the game, I would prefer it to be a Tales game character like Klaus from Fantasia or Lloyd Irving.
Or who's the main character? Who's the main character from Abyss? What was his name?
Luke. Luke.
Yeah,
Von
Luke.
Taylor.
Oh, personally, for
that piece of shit, aggravating motherfucker. I'm sorry, he's so aggravating.
personally, for my pick of a second Namco Bandai rep, it had to be one of the characters from the Idol Masters, so that way we can have so I could use her as a punching bag for any of the muscular characters in the roster.
I mean, if it couldn't be a Tails character, if it had to be a character, I would prefer either Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur, because he's just so much fun. Yoshimitsu or Mitsurugi. And I know he's not a fun character, but like, you know, it's not like you do things, but he is a samurai, and that would be an interesting character.
I thought you'd go with somebody like with Voldo or Talum.
Voldo would be too much for Smash Brothers. I'm sorry. Voldo is just that's too far. I mean, a dude dressed in an S&M outfit in Smash Brothers, that's just that's a little too much for Smash Brothers, you know? They're willing to listen. They had Bayonetta.
Bayonetta.
Yeah, they had Bayonetta, but Bayonetta isn't like Bayonetta. Okay, Bayonetta is a sexual being, but she's not deviant. Voldo's a fucking deviant.
Would you consider Fujiko Mine from Lupin the Third to be like deviant?
No, she's a sexual being who uses her assets to steal from Lupin the Third, the world's greatest thief. It's in her name, Fujiko. Twin Peaks. I mean, Lupin. He's immune to everything except Fujiko's Twin Peaks.
Funny that you should say that, since I've had to recently learn that Hero in My Hero Academia has their name reference to peaks. I mean, have reference of peaks and valleys.
Makes sense.
And he has grapes for hair.
Oh, you mean that character who's a perv and always trying to peek at the girls?
Yeah.
He's For some reason, My Hero Academia hasn't really clicked with me, but I know a lot of people like it. So, but
it has Japanese puns for names.
Yeah. But I guess we should get to the other topic before we get to the questions. The other topic is Bethesda stopping people from selling their shit.
And considering that they recently shown how they level up with Fallout 76, oh boy, this ought to be fun.
You mean the whole Fallout 76 not being available for the PC?
No. That you level up by cards.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get perks. You basically you get these cards that you can then apply to yourself to basically listen. I'm gonna keep it. I don't really give a shit about Fallout 76. I give. When I heard about it, I was like, okay, it's Bethesda. They're making another Fallout game. It's probably going to be shit because the last two Bethesda Fallout games have been shit. Fallout 3 was shit. Fallout 4 was shit. So I mean, like the one good modern Fallout game is the one that wasn't made by Bethesda. So I mean,
New Vegas.
Yeah. So I mean,
ooh,
it's not really surprising. It's like, you know. It's like, it's not surprised. Like, it's like someone acting surprised that it's like when we read about Square Enix being in the state they're in, and you look at, okay, what was the trigger point for them being in the shape they're in? Oh, when they went with Sony. Okay, so that's the common thread. The common thread with Fallout.
I'd say it was the final put them in the state they were in right now.
What was Final Fantasy VII?
No, the Final Fantasy movie, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
Yeah, but I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, there was no reason to make a Final Fantasy movie. Like, it would have made more sense. And if they were gonna make a Final Fantasy movie, why the fuck would they go with that shitty ass script that had nothing to do with Final Fantasy?
Simple, because they're trying to make a story out of something that has no story sense at all.
No, Final Fantasy has a story. Every Final Fantasy game has an overarching story, more or less. Although the first game kind of had a very cliche story. The second game had this big dramatic melodrama of betrayals, death, destruction. Final Fantasy 3 had kind of not a very good story. It was very the 4 heroes of light must save the crystals, blah 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 blah. Final Fantasy 4 had a good story with Cecil becoming casting off his dark past to become paladin and saving the world. Final Fantasy 5 story was kind of meh, but Final Fantasy 6 has a great story and it's relatively straightforward, more or less. I mean, it should have been very easy to do a Final Fantasy movie. You would have had to condense it. I would have gone with something a little bit simpler than trying to whatever. And why would they fire their golden goose?
Probably because they don't know how to manage their properties right.
I mean, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that all of the Final Fantasy? I mean, has anyone noticed that since Hironobu Sakaguchi left Squaresoft, their Final Fantasy games suck, more or less?
Yep.
I mean, that's not a coincidence, right? Because the new people aren't like they don't have the talent for it. I mean, how are you going to be more talented than a guy who made 10 of the fucking things? Like, you're not. Like, even the new people. Okay, Final Fantasy 12 isn't a Final Fantasy game because the guy who made it is the guy who did Final Fantasy Tactics. And if you play Final Fantasy 12, it's set in the Tactics universe, so it's not even a Final Fantasy game. So then take that out, okay? So the first true Final Fantasy made, like mainline single player Final Fantasy game made, is Final Fantasy 13. Everyone can agree that's a piece of shit, right? Then they make 13-2.
It's a mess.
It's a little bit better than 13, but not by much. Then you do 13-3, which is even worse than 13.
And 14, which is even worse than all of them.
Well, 14's a MMO, so I'm gonna the MMOs I'm not even counting because their MMO is not the same thing as a single player RPG. So then we get 15, and a lot of people, 15's great.
15's an ARPG, not a RPG.
Yeah, it's an action RPG. It's not a RPG. Okay. And to be fair, I mean, and people are going to say, well, the battle system is similar to Xenoblade Chronicles X.
It's similar to Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
And they're going to say, aren't those action RPGs? Well, here's the thing. Monolith Soft with Xenoblade Chronicles basically have created a... How can I put this nicely? They created the next generation of the active time battle system. Because basically you have a basic attack that doesn't take time, but then you have special attacks, and instead of having to juggle magic, they have a cooldown, so you can't spam shit. That is the next generation of the active time battle system.
I feel like the active time battle system is where, in a sense, you could actually get away with some things.
Oh yeah, you could have a really fast character whose special attack filled up immediately, and whose attack bar filled up immediately, and they could just attack over and over again. Like give someone the haste helm and Chrono Trigger, so they could just basically just keep on attacking and attacking and attacking. It was ridiculous, actually, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, the quality, you can see the precipitous dip in quality of their mainline franchise when they fired the man who made 10 of the damn games. Now, not every Final Fantasy made by Hironobu Sakaguchi is good. In reality, the first Final Fantasy gets a pass as the first one. Final Fantasy 2 is better. It's kind of revolutionary because it actually tries to have this deep, engrossing story, and it pretty much succeeds.
It's the hardest game in the series, though.
Yeah, it is pretty damn hard. And then they do Final Fantasy 3, which gives us the class change system and different jobs. And that kind of becomes a staple of the franchise for, well, it should have become a staple of the franchise. And then they do Final Fantasy 4, which, AKA Final Fantasy 2 here in America, that had a very deep, engrossing story. And a really shitty American translation that gave us some of the most memeable, you spoony bard! Tella. And then Final Fantasy V, which never came here to America because Square Squaresoft at that time were bitches, and they gave us Mystic Quest instead, which isn't terrible, but it's not a Final Fantasy game. But Final Fantasy V story is kind of iffy, but it has a really great battle system. And then Final Fantasy VI, which, I mean, arguably is like the best Final Fantasy ever made. I mean, does anyone have any objections to me saying that?
Final Fantasy 6 and 7 are my tops, so if anything, I'll at least let you roll there.
And then you get 7.
Some argue that 9's better than 6.
Yeah, but here's my argument to that. I won't say 9's better than 6. I will say that 9 is prettier than 6 because of just, they had figured out how to use that engine and optimize it and stuff like that. But the fact that 9 has 4 fucking discs, and if you lose one, you're fucked. Whereas 6 is all in one cartridge. that wins it for me. Plus, 6 has more characters to play as, and more intricate story. But Final Fantasy, then you get Final Fantasy VII, which for all intents and purposes is basically a lesser version of Final Fantasy VI's story. With it's like Final Fantasy VII should be called Final Fantasy VI, the lesser version, because like Cloud Strife is a lesser version of Terra, except he's a dude. He doesn't act like a dude because he's got all these hot women around him, throwing themselves at him, and he's just like, fuck that.
Yeah, he wants another sword.
I need to have that big long-haired man stab me with his long thin sword.
They tried to make it. They tried to make it kind of like Blade Runner too.
But Aerith actually has no interest in Cloud at all, despite what.
She does. She does. Like the entire time, she's like, "Hey, you want to come with me? You want to come with me? Yeah, I'm really interested in you." Like she's totally has interest in him. So does Tifa. Even Yuki to a kind of extent. He's like, "Nah, man, these hot women, fuck you. I want to be stabbed by that big, tall man with long hair and a thin sword repeatedly." Dude, and he has when he has to do that cross-dressing section, he's like, "Hey, man, I'm not cool with this." He's like, "Sure, why not? I like being stabbed with thin swords." But neither, yes, folks, I'm alluding that Cloud Strife is gay, okay? But anyway, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, he's not a very good protagonist for an RPG. To me, he's not, because he's so stoic. And Terra was stoic, but there was a reason for that, because she had the slave collar and her memory was gone, and she'd been turned into a weapon and all that stuff. There were valid reasons for her to be the way she was. But then the villain. I mean, we went from Kefka, who was just like the Joker, but who succeeded, to a dude who's gonna destroy the world because he doesn't know who his mother is, basically. Really? That's your motivations?
I thought Genova was supposed to be the true villain in
No.
7.
No, the final boss of Final Fantasy VII is a fully mutated Sephiroth. The reason he cast this ultimate magic to come call this meteor down to destroy the world is because he doesn't know. He's basically a clone baby of Genova, but he didn't know his mother. That's it. That's his motivation. An entire goddamn game is built on a guy who doesn't know his mother. He's gonna destroy the entire goddamn world because he's a clone. Fuck, that is a dumbass villain.
Dumb? I say he's more misguided and delusional.
No, I don't mean him personally. I mean in terms of RPG villains. That's just not very like you should feel like when a villain, when you have a villain in an RPG, it needs to be a character that you wind up hating. You want to see them.
You want to love to hate this guy, right?
No, you just want to see them absolutely destroyed. You look forward to the point where you can finally face them.
I thought a good villain is basically whose ideals you actually agree with and think that the hero is actually may be the true villain after all.
No.
Kind of like Thanos or Lysander.
Thanos and Lysander are pieces of beep. if you ask me.
A good villain is a villain that you hate, and you like in a good RPG. A good villain is a villain that by the time you go through your journey, you become powerful enough to take them on. You're looking forward to fighting them and destroying them.
But that's what we call an underdeveloped villain.
No. An underdeveloped villain is where they basically the villain is just the opposite is a mirror image of the hero, just evil. That's an undeveloped villain. A good villain is a villain that you hate. You want to see them get their asses kicked. You want to see them get annihilated. You almost have this visceral reaction like, man, it's like when so-and-so gets here, your ass is grass. That's a good villain.
Like Dachi from Persona 4, that like you kind of want to rip the guy's heart out, like just when you discover that he was doing all the killing.
Yeah, or let's see, who's another really good villain?
How about well, to go into the anime world, how about like Sharon Vineyard or Vermouth or whatever from Detective Conan?
See, that's the thing. I don't really watch Detective Conan.
Nah.
I'm trying to think.
Zenigata? Zenigata from Lupin?
Zenigata's not really a villain, though. Like, really, Lupin's the villain. Zenigata's just trying to catch his ass. Like, Lupin does... Okay, anyone here seen the Lupin reboot movie that's, like, basically the equivalent of anime rated R?
No.
I saw the Lupin in Europe series. Would that work?
Well, okay, basically in the Lupin reboot they did in the like mid 2000s, like there's like it's basically an origin story rebooting Lupin, right? And it tells how he meets Jigen and
that's the oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's the woman called that's the woman called Fujiko Mine.
Well, it's not called that, but it's like he meets Fujiko, and basically it shows like, and basically it tells about like how he met all these characters. And there's this guy who kills his best friend, and it basically entices Fujiko into betraying Lupin, right? And at the very end, he gets the guy who did it. And when Lupin gets his hands on him, because Lupin, one of his things is he doesn't kill people. He kills the guy. He's like, you know what? I'm going to break my one rule. And when he kills him, you feel this satisfaction because the guy's like,
you have to do something pretty dark in order to make Lupin consider that.
Your ass deserved this. It was coming, and you finally got what was coming to you. That is a good villain. You feel satisfaction in that they get what was coming to their asses. They finally got it good. That's a good villain. And I mean, like a good villain, you have to have that motivation. Like they have to be heinous and evil. And when they finally get what's coming to them, it's like, yeah, fuck that guy.
By that logic, you should consider Sword Art Online a good anime because it has those type of villains.
I've never watched Sword Art Online, but I'll give you another good example of this type of villain. Emperor Palpatine. When he's finally thrown down that shaft and killed, it's like, fuck that guy. Like he got what he deserved. Fuck him. You know, like it's not like, oh, I empathize with his feelings. No, he's evil. He needs to die. There's none of this. You know, he can be redeemed. There's only one room for one motherfucker being redeemed on this space station, and you aren't him. And it's iffy with his ass, you know. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, basically, Sephiroth's not that good of a villain, and I mean that's kind of the flaw with Final Fantasy VII is that like the villain kind of sucks. The main character is kind of weak. Not weak as in like power levels, but weak as in like his motivations are kind of like, this is kind of a weak motivation. And I mean, the side characters are interesting, but they don't really flesh them out. Like Barrett's kind of fleshed out. Tifa's not fleshed out. Red 13's kind of fleshed out. Yuffie's kind of fleshed out. Cid's kind of fleshed out.
No, a lot of characters have a good size of fleshing, but
Kate Sith isn't really fleshed out. I mean, they don't flesh out all the characters. Final Fantasy VI, every goddamn character is fleshed out. Every character has a major motivation, a major story, a major arc. You know, there's stuff going on. And I mean, yes, you have to do a little bit of work, a little bit of side quests and stuff like that, but it's there. Final Fantasy VIII is like an even lesser version of Final Fantasy VII. Because if you thought Cloud Strife was stoic and emo, shit.
8 has him one up.
That main character in 8 is even worse. And here's how bad Final Fantasy 8 is. I've beaten that game twice. I still don't understand what the overall main villain.
And that's a for this game.
I had it on PC, so I don't know. I had it on PC. I don't know. Digitally, I had it on PC digitally. Beat that game twice. I have no idea what the main villain's motivation was. Final Fantasy IX has a better story. It's more streamlined. Some really good characters. Vivi's one of my favorite characters in the Final Fantasy franchise, but is it as good as Final Fantasy VI?
It's arguable.
It's subjective, but I mean,
said arguable, meaning that you can debate about it.
I would say they're even if you want to go that, but I won't say it's better. But then you get Final Fantasy X, which is like the last game that the man made, and it's, I mean, if you take out Titus, it's actually a pretty good RPG. With Titus, it goes down.
You have cringe.
If they ever release that game on PC and they mod source for it where you can take out Titus, just have him not be in the game, I would give that game a B. But with Titus, it's a D. That takes it down. It's like, man, this game would be awesome, but this motherfucker, it's like, he's bringing the whole thing down. Like Titus is like you going on a road trip and you have the hot girls, your cool best friend, you got tons of money, but then they bring this stupid downbeat, aggravating motherfucker who's gonna fuck everything up for everybody. That's Titus. But I mean, I'll even let Waka go because he was so cool. But and then I mean, they got rid of him after the Spirits Within because he was the reason their games went bad. Allegedly, that they made him take the blame. He wasn't the reason because they shouldn't have made a fucking movie about Final Fantasy in the first place, and not with that fucking script. And no one told them to spend $150 million on it. But I think we've exhausted that. Can we get to these questions?
Yeah.
All right. This is Jorge Zaldivar. He says, I was taken by surprise by the reveal of Simon and Richter Belmont, Crumb, Dark Samus, and King K. Rool. Got any idea who they will reveal next?
Let's see. I suspect a character reveal on September's Nintendo Direct.
Not when, just if they're going to reveal something. Who are they going to reveal? Any idea? Who?
I'm suspecting of Gen 7 Pokemon or Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X.
That'd be cool.
Because I suspect Skull Kid to be shown off, like in the last Smash Direct before the game comes out. Because Sakurai just said he's going to reveal all of the newcomers and Echo Fighters before the game launches to prevent another ESRB situation.
All right, that's cool. And it would make sense for there to be a Skull Kid because there's a Skull Kid Amiibo. So.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna say Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, and I'm gonna take a guess here. I'm gonna say our first anime representative.
Who would that be?
I don't know who. From a random one.
What if it's One Punch Man?
It's I have to say it's gonna be Jotaro and probably Dio as an Echo Fighter.
Maybe no. What if
I'd like to see Lupin or Fujiko make it in.
Well, Fujiko. Well, considering they put Bayonetta in there, Fujiko could make it. Fujiko could totally make it. But Jewel.
If they go for animated characters for this, I'm gonna be having a good laugh at least. Though I can't make any big predictions. At least not that I know of on the spot. So sorry, guys.
Okay. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be one of those. I'll give you my logical prediction, then I'll give you my off the wall. This will probably never happen, but why the hell not? Logical prediction: it's probably going to be one of the characters that they made an amiibo for that wasn't in the last game. So Skull Kid or one of those characters.
Or Bandana Waddle-Dee.
Yeah, like someone they made an amiibo for because they want, like, here's the thing, they want to synergize their business strategy and have amiibo for the game too. So I see that, I can see that happening. My off the wall prediction, I'm gonna say it's gonna be another third party character, and just because I really want to see the character in there, Earthworm Jim, groovy. Because I like
Earthworm a long shot, you know.
Probably never gonna happen, but I like Earthworm Jim. And Jim Farmer needs the work. Let's get to the next question. Sound like the lady who did I like the nightlife, I like the boogie. She likes the action. I read that Nintendo will be at this year's TGS. Think they will reveal anything about Smash Ultimate during the event? Anyone want to tackle that first?
Nah, I mean, they didn't show anything at EVO. Why would they show anything about Smash related at the Tokyo Game Show?
Jewel?
There's a possibility, but I'm not sure entirely of what to expect. Other than, well, have fun trying to see how many people can be salted.
Alex?
Oh, sorry. What was the question? God.
I read that Nintendo will be at this year's TGS. This is from Jorge Zaldivar. Think they will reveal anything about Smash Ultimate during the event?
Probably.
Really? Okay, you're going with the you think they will. I don't think they will. Just because Nintendo's figured out, why should we show things off at other people's events when we can do our own and like not have anyone try and steal our thunder. This is from Trinell83. Oh, sorry, he's talking to people. Let's see what else. Okay, Jorge Saldivar has another one. Now that they revealed 2 characters from the Castlevania series for the roster, I think there's a chance for Ryu from the Street Fighter series to get an Echo Fighter like Ken or Sakura. It'll probably be Ken, just because it makes more sense for him to be an Echo character than Sakura. Sakura is literally shorter and not built like Ryu at all.
In short, she's got potential, but not unfortunately the potential to be in the game.
Not as an Echo character. No. But it would make more sense for Ken to be there because I mean, let's keep it real. Ken was the first Echo character. It's only right if they're gonna add an Echo character for Ryu. God damn it, it's got to be Ken. Ken Masters.
Yeah, and
unless they go with Akuma if they want to do the heroes versus villains theme.
Yeah, but Akuma's moveset is only like
viable.
Well, it's only kind of like Ryu. Like his moveset is not 1-for-1 for Ryu, whereas Ken's moveset is 1-for-1 for Ryu, except he has different fierce moves. Like instead of having the his super Hadouken that can light people on fire, it's his Dragon Punch. But you know, it is what it is. Here's another one from Jorge Zaldivar. Think that you can send a letter to Konami to spend money on reopening Hudson Soft. Well, the thing is like
Wait a second. Is this Trusk from Video Game Facts?
Man, look, I'm going to answer the questions. I don't think Konami owns Hudson Soft. They bought the IPs. But I mean, they can do whatever the hell they want. I mean, personally, I'd just be happy if they made another Bonk game. But you know, it is what it is. Jorge Zaldivar says, I think the new online service for the Nintendo Switch is still gonna suck. I mean, that's your opinion. I mean, here's the thing, okay. I'm skeptical of it, but it could be good. I don't have the same level of skepticism I have about Nintendo's online service that I have towards, say, Sony's online service, which has proven to be a disaster, in my opinion, especially for what you're paying. Nintendo's online service is $20, and you don't really need to, you don't need it to be. It's $20 is not a lot of money. That's like, let's see, on the average, people spend $10 eating out. That's like you miss 2 meals eating out, and you paid for it. So there you go. Someone says they just want Shantae in Smash. Yeah, Shantae would be a cool character.
As I expect her to be DLC. And since Shovel Knight is an assist trophy, that means she has no competition to be the first playable indie rep.
Yeah, and considering she started on a Nintendo platform with the Game Boy Color, that would be a really cool character to have in the game.
That I can agree on.
Yeah. If they throw Shantae into the roster, they better give her a Japanese voice. Well, I
pretty much got it. I mean, the Mario characters still use their English voices, even the Japanese version.
Even though Mario doesn't really, whatever. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Oh shit, more questions loaded. I was scrolling down and more questions loaded. So questions. So someone says that they wouldn't mind seeing Shinoa as an assist trophy from Order of Ecclesia. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
I have no idea.
All right.
Same here, and Alice dropped off like a rock.
That's not cool. What about anyone here? Think Julius Belmont would be cool?
That depends. That depends. Would he work as an alternate costume for Seven or Richter Belmont?
Well, considering that Richter is an Echo character, and the Echo characters are almost like palette swaps with a slightly different moveset of the character that the Echo of. He'd probably be another Echo for Simon because Julius Belmont uses a whip too. So someone says, "I will love Wesker they would love for Wesker to be playable." See, Wesker is kind of OP, and I really don't like too many boss characters to be playable characters in Smash Brothers. Like you got Donkey Kong, who I know is kind of not a boss character, but he kind of is. You've got King DDD, you've got Bowser, you've got
Well, the thing is, boss characters are not OP in Smash because they're usually mid to low tier.
Well, Ganondorf, aside from his speed, is pretty damn boss. Bowser is kind of mid-low tier just because, you would think he would be more powerful. You would think he would be more powerful, but he really isn't as powerful as you think. But I think it's just there's almost too many boss characters there right now. But Wesker, whatever. Trinell says.
Well, there's a complaint that there's not enough boss characters in the roster.
Well, look, I just gave my opinion. If other people feel that way, they can do whatever, but that's how I feel. Do I think they could throw in the boss theme for Final Fantasy IX in the game? Maybe as DLC. Maybe. I don't know. The lazy one, whose avatar is a Snorlax, says, I'll hate that true ending in 10-2. Well, the true ending of 10-2 is that you bring back Titus. who's kind of, for some reason, he's been dead and not eating, but he's fat. It's weird. And the lazy one says, I hate Titus and lightning to the highest degree. Would you say you hate them with the intensity of 1,000 burning suns? The lazy one also says, I would love some Golden Sun representation. I would too. I would love to see Isaac or Garrett or Ivan.
Considering one of them has been put into an assist trophy.
Isaac? Yeah, Isaac's assist. Well, they could do Garrett. Or Felix. I don't like Felix, but they could put him in there. Do you think any arms will be in Smash? If they're arms amiibo, arms will be in Smash.
I expect an arms character to be one of the first wave DLC characters, since the roster was finalized way before arms came out. And
although to be fair, I don't really like arms, but look, if they can make an amiibo for it, it'll probably be in Smash. So there'll probably be an arms character in Smash. You know, that's just the way it is. I still want to see the Pokemon Komomo in the roster. I don't know who the fuck
who
Komomo
that is. That
Komomo is a Gen 7 Pokemon. He's a dragon fighting type Pokemon who looks sort of like Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, there you go. Whatever. Well, if that's what you want.
Let me tell you that it's not going to happen, because he's not as popular as Incineroar, the Fire Tiger, Decidueye, the Archer Owl, Mimikyu, the fake Pikachu, Lycanroc, the Rock Wolf.
Yeah. So Trinell83 says, I would like a weird magic user. I want to know, are the main characters from Magical Star Sign by Brownie Brown owned by Nintendo? I'm not sure, because I think Brownie Brown's a second party studio, but maybe they're a third party that they have a close association with. But I mean, I could be wrong. Jorge Zaldivar says Skull Kid's Final Smash should be the 4 Giants. That'd be cool, but want to know which Nintendo character would be a wacky addition to the roster? Chibi Robo. That would be a cool character to add to the roster, because he has an amiibo, or it, because it's a robot. It doesn't have a gender.
And there's people who suggest that if Chibi Robo doesn't become playable in Smash to save his series, then his series is dead.
I mean, like, the thing is like, Custom Robo was a very niche series. It was never going to be huge. I think that they could bring it back. The best way to do it really would be to re-release maybe Chibi Robo 1 and 2, like in a package. I think that would be a good way to show it off. The lazy one says that Kingdom Hearts 3 will be delayed for 2020. It might. I mean, Square Enix has not been good about getting games out. Trinell83 says Callus from Bait and Catos or Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia would be a huge surprise on Smash Ultimate. Yeah, I would like to see Callus. We haven't seen him before, or you could even go with the Great Mizuti. And for those who played Bait and Catos, or my personal favorite, you could have Gabari, the fisherman, with his catchphrase, "I'm so hungry, I could eat a pow."
Oh,
yeah, because a pow is a pig cow. The lazy one says, I would love a Shin Megami Tensei character like a Demi Fiend or Flynn. Oh, that'd be cool. I think Square Enix should develop a Mother series reimagining and make Shigesago Itoi the special thanks. I don't particularly trust Square Enix to make RPGs these days, more or less. Trinell83 agrees with me in saying Jack Frost would be the perfect character for Smash. Another Namco character they'd like to see join the roster, this from Jorge Zaldivar, is Cosmos from the Xenosaga series. That'd be cool. The lazy one says Siegfried or Zessalamel in Smash. That's the black. Siegfried is the guy who becomes Nightmare when he gets the Soul Edge, and Zessalamel is the black guy who uses a scythe.
They ain't bad choices, though. I'm not sure how their jumping might work.
Yeah. Let's see.
Since, fighting games usually don't have much jumping at times unless there's something of it.
Well, the jumping in Soul Calibur isn't like it's all about movement. Jumping's not really. Let's see. With Zero as an assist trophy, Mega Man X could be the Echo character for.
I'm not sure because Mega Man X is a bit as much taller than Mega Man, old school Mega Man. They have to be around the same height in order.
But they have similar movesets. I mean, like instead of the kick dash thing, it would be his normal dash. But you'd have to change his movesets. Like he wouldn't have like the blade. He wouldn't throw the metal blades or anything. It'd be something different. But I mean, it would look. Listen, if they made the effort, I'm sure Nintendo could pull it off. But I mean, whatever. Weister20 has a question. Should Square let the Octopath Traveler team handle the Final Fantasy franchise? If they did, you'd probably get a better game out of it.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
I mean, they're not gonna do it, but it would be cool to. It's like they're not gonna do it. It would be cool if they did it, but they're probably not gonna do it because it's Square Enix, and Square Enix is, Square Enix is basically like, how can I put this nicely? Square Enix is essentially. They're like someone who runs a business and literally finds the worst way to run it. And they keep on doing things in the worst way possible repeatedly, over and over and over again. They don't care. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they, like if there's a wrong way to do something, Square Enix will find it and do it because they don't care. No shits are given. For lack of a better term. Zero shits are given. Keep the questions coming in, folks. We got another 10 minutes before we're over, so
yeah, if anything, give us something to talk about.
Don't be afraid to leave a deep, meaty question. Okay, we have some more questions. Why would Jewel Wider want Bob and Bub from the Bubble Bobble series to join the roster?
No, I thought if anything, it would be some some weird character that everybody would go for.
I mean, Bob and Bub would be cool. I mean, they kind of appear in Kirby's.
Aren't they icons themselves before they fell into obscurity?
Yeah, so I mean, they could. I mean, that actually be a pretty cool character to put in the game. And Weister20 has another question: is there a sickness at Capcom? Yes, there is.
There is.
It's called we're assholes and we don't know how to run a successful business. that's the sickness. And the cure is more cowbell. Ow.
More cowbell. Who
Need more cowbell.
Come on,
I got a fever, and the only cure is more cowbell. No, but in all seriousness, the problem with Capcom is that for years and years and years, they made bad business decisions, and they just did not
recover.
They didn't recover from them. Okay, it was a good making games that were more Western centric was actually a good call. But how they did it was not good. Like Lost Planet is actually a good game. It's not perfect. It's flawed, but overall it's a good game. Lost Planet 2 is shit. Lost Planet 3 is even worse. The problem is that Capcom, the first Dead Rising is actually, it's fun for what it is. Dead Rising 2 is fun for what it is. But then Dead Rising 3 comes along and it starts going downhill. For some reason, Capcom, instead of taking their games and kind of tweaking them a bit to go to the West, they took their games and they just gave them to Western studios, and then they made shitty versions of those games that were expensive to make, that bombed, and they kept on doing this for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And so basically they lost tons of money on bullshit. And then instead of having a standby game franchise that they used to pimp out that made them a steady amount of money, Mega Man, they kind of stopped making those games, which brought in steady cash, and they started leaning on what they in their heads they knew was going to be a good franchise. So, but then they ran those into the ground. Like Street Fighter V is not a good Street Fighter game. Even though over time they added all this content, they made it better. Street Fighter is like their marquee franchise, and they basically made a bad Street Fighter, like a legitimately bad Street Fighter. Now, I mean, I'm going to use Nintendo or Sega as an example. Sega has released bad Sonic the Hedgehog games, but for some reason that fan base will just keep on coming back. You know, it's like, I know you farted in my face, but this time it'll be different. Like, that's Sega fans. But Nintendo's been a little bit better. Like, there are 2D Mario games that people might not like. There are 3D Mario games that people might not like, but all of them are mechanically sound and, you know, have a decent amount of content. Like, in their marquee franchises. Same thing with Zelda. Like, Street Fighter is the marquee franchise for Capcom, and they fucked that up. And that's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't really know. Like, I mean, that's why they released this thing. They're like, we would prefer to have better review scores than just high sales. Because basically, if you destroy your marquee franchise, your sales are going to take a hit too. And that's going to make it hard for future games to sell well. So, I mean, that's why, I mean, people might not like RE7, but it's reviewing well. So people who, like, this is why reviewers are important. If you haven't played a game franchise in years, you haven't picked it up, and you want to get it, but games are an expensive hobby. And people don't rent games anymore. You can't, and a lot of games they don't have demos for. You might have to look at a review and say, hey, you know, is this game good? And you look at the review and it says, yeah, the game's actually kind of good. You might get it. You might not get it. And so having things be critically well received makes it easier. It's like, if you hear a movie is good, like, this movie is good. A lot of people said this movie is good. You might have more of a chance to spend your money and go watch it than if someone says, like, everyone said this movie is trash, and then you're like, I don't believe it, and then you go spend $11.50 to go watch it, and it's trash. You're like, shit, that's 2.5 hours of my life I can never get back, and my $11.50, you know. So, I mean, yes, it is important to have good critical reception. Even though people might get mad and be like, no, it's not important. It kind of is. But
does that also include, like, underrated games that got bashed by critics?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's subjective. But I mean, you know, reviews can be important, right? Like, do you think Breath of the Wild would have sold as well if it didn't get all the rave reviews? Like, people who had not played video game, people who had not played a Zelda game in years or ever played a Zelda game, if they went to a review site and it said this game is shit, and multiple review sites said that, I mean, that could
injure a game. Seriously.
Yeah. So,
but if anything, this is why I try to base on my view on what I would want in a game, in a sense, instead of trying to say of going with the popular crowd. Because if you go with other reviewers, well, you can imagine the tidal wave.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you have to basically be self-informed, but it helps. It helps to have someone do a lot of the footwork for you. Like, there's certain games that I've gotten, you know, I mean, you have to combine what people tell you with what your own tastes are. For example, like, I've heard, like, there are games
reason why I state that they're my 2 coins on something, an opinion, or it's my POV of what I think the game is like.
Yeah, because there are games that I love that if someone said, hey, recommend a game for me, I would not recommend for them, because knowing their taste, they probably would not like it. You know what I mean? Like, because everyone's tastes are different. Like, I like dense, cakey, meaty RPGs. That's what I like. Not everyone likes that. A lot of people like stuff that they can just get in, like, whack some monsters with a sword or a keyblade and call it a day. I don't like stuff like that. You know, those are my tastes. Like, they could come out, like, I heard some people say Final Fantasy 15 is a great game. I played it and I'm like, it's okay, but it's not a good Final Fantasy game. So I mean, it just depends on what your tastes are. But that's
like, if you want to get into certain games, recommend certain games that are easy enough to get into.
Okay, then. So Jorge Zaldivar has another one. I know I don't care. I know you don't care about the Monster Rancher series, but it's past the 20th anniversary, and I want Mochi and Hare to join the roster. Dude, I like the Monster Rancher series, but I don't think they're gonna join the roster just because there hasn't been a Monster Rancher game since
the 2000s.
No, the 16. Because the last Monster Rancher game that came out for the Game Boy Advance. So
he's been constantly asking for a Monster Ranchers character for Smash for ever now.
It would be cool to have a Monster Rancher character, but
it's too obscure at this moment.
It would be cool, but I mean, you'd first have to have a Monster Rancher game for them to put a Monster Rancher character in the game. So they need, like, you should find whoever owns the rights to Monster Rancher and tell them to make a game and have it sell well, and then maybe talk to Nintendo. Another question: why are there no light gun games for the Switch? That's a good question. I mean, the Switch would probably do well with a light gun game.
Nintendo will probably make one for one of their Labo series.
Or, if Sega were smart, they would port House of the Dead Overkill into the system and just convert what you did with the Wiimote. Like, there's so many Wii games that could be ported over to the Switch. Like maybe $10 a pop, $10, $15, $20 a pop that are first-person shooters that would do really well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people should be forced to buy a cardboard kit set to play a light gun game. But I mean, because if you have the two, the right and left Joy-Cons, that's all you really need to play a light gun game for the Switch. But yeah, I do think that they could there does need to be some some games like that on the system, and hopefully they're working on it. If Nintendo's smart, they're working on it.
Yep.
I mean, there's tons of cool stuff that they could be doing with the Switch that they aren't doing. Like, why? I mean, with the HD Rumble, why haven't we gotten a really good fishing game with the thing?
With the games.
Let's see, Monster Rancher DS. Okay, I'm wrong. There's been other Monster Rancher games, but that's still 2 gens away. And a Monster Rancher game on Android and iPhones. Can it really be that good? It's probably built for microtransactions, which is not cool. So yeah, but yeah, there does need to be a new thing. I think we've pretty much milked questions. Anything you guys want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Let's see. See if I can find any news that we posted this past week. Oh yeah, Luigi's death hit the mainstream from the Smash Direct.
Yeah.
Of
but
course.
Then he came back to life at the end. So
because he got a 1-up mushroom, as some people would say it.
Well, no, he repossessed his body. So I mean,
and also. Should I also mention how Negan and Tekken makes no sense? Because that pretty much means that the Tekken series takes place within the Walking Dead franchise, which pretty much destroys the grounded realism it was going for.
Wait a second, man. It's a video game and a crossover. It's not supposed to make sense. It's not supposed to make sense. Okay? I mean, the game has Mitsurugi in it, and he's also a Soul Calibur character. That's not... Akuma was in the fucking thing. It's not supposed to make sense, man. Calm down. It's not supposed to make sense.
I have to make it sense, just like our idols, game theory.
No.
There's some things I like to make sense of to try to see if I could get more down to earth. But there are some things. Well, there are too out there for even me to put logic into.
There is absolutely no goddamn reason to try and make sense about Negan being in Tekken. There's no, because it doesn't matter. It like, he has a weapon, he hits people in the head with it. That's all you need.
So anyway, moving on. Doom Eternal is confirmed for the Switch.
Well, considering it's made with the same engine as the last Doom games, not really surprising.
People are going to say that it's going to overheat and and we'll have another situation where the Switch has to lose some graphical fidelity to hold on to this game.
Well, I mean, it's the exact same engine as
the first Doom
the
that
first
came
game,
to it.
and it wasn't overheating with that. So I don't, I don't think it's gonna, I mean, I personally don't really like the new Doom games, but I mean, for people who really want it, it's coming. So good luck.
Oh, and since Shovel Knight is an assist trophy in Smash Ultimate, he's a playable character in its ripoff game, Rivals of Ether.
Well, I won't call it a ripoff. It's inspired by
Right. Inspired from, I believe, from some of the same guys who made the Project M mod.
What that I think they're gonna start modding Smash Brothers Ultimate and Smash Brothers Wii U.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to, I mean, they own the game. They should be able to. Look, as long as they buy the shit and they just and they give Nintendo their money for it and they make the game, good for them. I mean, it's not like Nintendo's losing money because someone bought an extra copy of the game and then modded it to do something else. I mean, because you can't even play Other M or any of those other ones unless you have the original anyway. So.
Let's see then.
You know who would be a cool character? This is kind of an aside. You know who would be a cool character to have in Smash Brothers?
Earthworm Jim.
No. This is a Capcom character. Okami from Okami. Amaterasu Okami from Okami. That'd be an interesting character to put in the game because Okami was originally supposed to be a GameCube game, and then they quit that thing and ported it over to the PlayStation 2 where it bombed. And I think that would be a really cool character to put into the game because I could imagine the amiibo for it.
Guess that's about it of all the video game news for this week.
All right. So anything you want to pimp out, Jewel?
I'm mostly trying to get something done for this week because something important's coming up. At least as far as my own self gone. But I did at least accomplish something last night.
All right.
That is.
It was a game idea that I was trying to make stats for, and I'm trying to get play tested right now because I actually got all the stats done for nearly over 2,000 different cards.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have nothing to pimp out. I might do some videos this week coming up. Obviously, as always, we do Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish and BS Busters on Saturday and Sunday from 7:30 to 8:30 for Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish, and 7:30 to typically 9 for the BS Busters. But we had a lot of stuff to get through and a lot of lively banter and stuff like that. So it went a little bit longer this time, but normally it's 7:30 to 9 for BS Busters. So thank you for joining. Remember, rate, comment, share, subscribe. If you would like to be part of the panel to get your ideas out, all you need is a microphone or a webcam, and send me some details. I'll send you some details, and we can work something out, and you can join one of our podcasts. So thank you, and have a good day or
and
night
responsibly
or whatever. And